All right, so today we're going somewhere a little different. We're heading down to the Dominican Republic to a place called Sosua.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's this, well, I mean, I guess you could call it a beach town.
Okay.
It's beautiful, but it's also this kind of a hot spot for sex tourism.
I see.
And we're going to be diving into an article about it called Women at Work, Sex Tourism in Sosua, the Dominican Republic.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it is, and I'm really curious to get your take on it because I think it kind of flips the script on what we usually hear about sex tourism. You know?
Really? How so?
Well, usually we hear about how it's all about exploitation, right? Like this terrible thing is happening to women.
Right.
But this article, it presents a different perspective.
Interesting.
It talks about how the women in Sosua are actually using sex tourism as a way to try to improve their lives.
That's a new angle for sure.
Yeah, and specifically, they're engaging in sex tourism with European men.
Okay.
Like they see it as a potential pathway to a better future.
I see. So they're not just seeing it as a last resort.
Exactly. It's not just about survival for them. It's about this idea of migration as advancement, which the article talks about a lot. You know, using migration to try to move up in the world.
That makes sense.
So it's not just about making ends meet. It's about trying to create a better life for themselves and their families.
So for these women, Sosua is like this land of opportunity almost.
Kind of, yeah.
It's the place where they go to try to make their dreams come true.
Right, and that's what makes the setting so interesting too.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
because you've got this beautiful beach town, right? Like picture perfect with the palm trees and the turquoise water.
Paradise.
Yeah, exactly. But then underneath that surface, you've got this whole other world going on.
It's like two worlds colliding.
Yeah, exactly. And the article describes how Sosua has become this kind of meeting point for white European men and Afro-Caribbean women.
And each group is coming to Sosua with their own set of expectations.
Oh, yeah.
The men are often looking for relationships.
Often, yeah. But maybe not always the kind of relationships that most people would think of.
Right. I mean, there's definitely a power imbalance there.
Yeah, for sure.
Which the article talks about quite a bit.
And our women are coming to Sosua hoping to use these relationships as a way to escape poverty.
To create a better life for themselves.
Exactly. And, you know, when I first read that most of these women actually end up leaving Sosua with very little to show for their time there, my heart sank a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I can see why.
It just felt like such a stark contrast to the initial hope.
You know, the dreams they had.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if the article offered any insights into why that is. Like, why do so many of these women end up disappointed?
Well, the article suggests that while these women are coming to Sosua with very real aspirations and strategies, the reality on the ground is often much more complicated.
So it's not as simple as just showing up and finding a European partner who's going to whisk you away to a life of luxury.
Unfortunately not.
Okay, but why not? Like, what are the barriers?
Well, for one thing, there are limited opportunities in Sosua.
Even with all the tourism.
Yeah, I mean, there are jobs, but they're often low paying and there's a lot of competition.
And I imagine there's a lot of competition among the women themselves too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The article talks about how there's this constant pressure to attract clients and to stand out from the crowd.
It sounds intense.
It is. And then, of course, there are the inherent risks that come with sex work.
The dangers.
Exactly. The article doesn't shy away from those.
And it's not just physical dangers either, right? Like, there's also the emotional toll that this kind of work can take.
Oh, absolutely. And the potential for exploitation is huge.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The article really emphasizes the need to look beyond the surface and consider the potential for coercion and the ways in which poverty can limit choices.
It's heavy stuff for sure.
It is, but it's important to talk about.
So I'm curious, did the article offer any examples of women who did find some level of success in Sosua?
It did mention a few individual stories. Yeah, one that sticks out is about a woman who used the money she earned in Sosua to invest in her family's business back home.
So in a way, she achieved that migration as advancement goal, even if it wasn't in the way she might have initially envisioned.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes this whole topic so compelling.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It forces us to rethink our assumptions and recognize the agency and resourcefulness of these women, even in the face of incredibly challenging circumstances.
I'm really glad we're having this conversation because I think it's so important to shed light on these nuanced stories.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we've got this picture of Sosua, a place where dreams and reality collide.
Right.
We've talked about the motivations, the power dynamics, the challenges. what else did the article highlight about this unique environment?
Well, one thing that really struck me was the sense of community among the women in Sosua.
Oh, really? Tell me about that.
They form these intricate networks of support.
Like they're looking out for each other.
Exactly. They share information and resources and even strategies for navigating the complexities of sex tourism.
It's like they're creating their own informal economy within the larger context of the tourist industry.
That's a great way to put it. And that sense of solidarity and collective resilience, it really challenges the stereotypical image of sex workers as isolated and powerless.
It's like they're not just passive victims, they're actively working together to try to improve their situations.
Right, and in a way, they're kind of like entrepreneurs. They're taking risks, making calculated decisions, and trying to maximize their gains within a system that's often stacked against them.
It's fascinating to think about it that way.
It is, and it makes you realize how much more there is to this story than meets the eye.